Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to learn about some inking techniques. So there are 3 different inking techniques you're going to learn today. You should be doing the worksheet along with watching this video. So you should have the worksheet in front of you if you are watching this video. The first technique is hatching. The definition of hatching is lines going in one direction to create value. So what you're going to do is you start at the edge and you've got lines going in one direction because pressure doesn't make a difference when we're inking using marker or pen. The way to make things lighter and darker is more or less lines. So you want all of your lines to kind of start at the edge. They're all going in one direction. They are not crossing, and they are staying inside the object. So shorter lines to make it darker, kind of medium lines, longer lines to go all the way up into the light space. Okay? This should not just sit at the edge of a thing. This is not proper hatching. It should fill that space. Okay? So the arrow is where the light is coming from, so that's where it should be lighter. It should get darker on the dark side. So the criteria for this is that your lines are going in one direction. More lines make it darker. Less make it lighter. You are also not going to scribble back and forth. This is not hatching. Hatching is each line drawn separately. So no scribbling. Then you need to create a value scale. So you're going to do this by creating a light. This one has lines that are slightly closer together. This one has lines that are slightly closer together. This one has lines that are slightly closer together as you get darker. Make sure your lines stay in one direction. So that you have a value scale. It shows that you know how to make it light, medium, and dark. Make it dark, a little darker. All right, so that is hatching. We go down to the next one. It is cross hatching. So this is similar to hatching. That's why that word is in there. The difference between hatching and cross hatching is hatching looks like this. Cross hatching has lines that go in multiple directions. Same deal, where we have lines that are longer and lines that are shorter to get darker at the edges. Your line should still start at the edge. So the definition is lines going in multiple directions to create value. Okay, so you want, just like before, you want more lines equals darker, less equals lighter. You want to make sure you have long, medium, and short lines. No scribbling again. And you may want to make some of your lines curve too, especially if your object is round. All right. right, one thing I always see for this one that I don't want to see, and I don't know where this comes from, we get our little lines and people do this. It is not little X's. That's why those lines are long, medium, and short. They're not little X's. So not this. This, not this. All right, same deal. Create your value scale. Getting lines going in multiple directions. One way to make sure of this is each time go in a different direction. So 3 directions. 1, 2, 3, 4 directions, because I'm doing more directions, it's covering more of that white space. 2, 3, 4, 5 directions. 3, 4, 5, 6 directions. So it goes light to dark. All right, this last one is a little different than the other two. Rather than dealing with lines, this one deals in dots. So these are dots. These are not like little check marks. That's not what you want to do. You want to keep the pen nice and straight. And you can kind of hear that tapping sound. We're going to hear a lot of tapping around the room while we're making these. So it gets darker at the edge by using more dots. As we move across, it's going to get lighter. So, the definition are dots going from light to dark. More dots equal darker, less equals lighter. They are not checks or lines. So same deal, last but not least, do your little value scale. Each one gets more dots. Lots and lots and lots of dots. This one does tend to take longer than any of the other techniques. So I'm not going to make you sit here and finish watching me do it, but finish this and then your worksheet is done. When you finished, make sure you turn in your worksheet to Mrs. Chesser, and then you may start using these 3 techniques to fill at least 50% of the space of your final draft.